Hello. Welcome to the Late Challenge. Myself, Gareth Roberts, him, Paul Cope. You know what happened, don't you? And it wasn't great, was it? It wasn't good. It was a draw, but it very much feels like a defeat. And today is hopefully a little bit of group therapy. Hopefully make ourselves all feel a little bit better, maybe. I'm calling this show Liverpool, You Do It To Yourself, You Do. And I'd like to add, and that's what really hurts, because Van Dijk called this game exactly as I've just said. He called it feeling like a defeat, and he's very much not wrong. Jurgen Klopp said after the game, in all the time I've been here, we've never dominated United like we did in these two games, but we didn't win them. So yeah, hopefully some therapy, hopefully some cathartic chat. As ever, you can join in on the live chat, get yourself involved, and we will read out some of your comments if they are indeed sensible ones. But before all that, and before we talk about the Reds stinking out Old Trafford, just wanted to give a little shout out. So a regular who listens regularly to the Anfield rap, bloody hell, the Late Challenge. I'm tired today. I'm tired. Out
late last night, lad.
What?
Out late last night?
Yeah, I had a few bevies to drown my sorrows. It's the Late Challenge, isn't it? Not the Anfield rap. However, I was on that yesterday. Daniela sent us a message regarding Craig Santangeli. Is that how we're saying it? Is that right?
You saying you're going for a hard G, not a soft G?
Santang. What does that mean?
Santangeli.
Gelly
or jelly. We should have checked that, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we've gone down a rabbit hole already, but you'll know
Craig knows who he is.
You'll know who we mean. I am mate, and we just wanted to say well done for finishing the Brighton Marathon. Apparently it had its up and downs. You had a bit of man flu. You had to do a bit of a Goggins to get through it apparently, but your time was just over 4 hours, and your missus is very proud. And she asked us to give you a shout out because you're a big fan of TLC. We're a big fan of the fact that you're a fan of TLC. So well in, mate.
Yeah, well done, mate.
It's something that I definitely could never do.
Unbelievable time, that. Just over 4 hours.
5K is my best.
Is it?
And that was wearing a Father Christmas suit, I think.
Yeah.
I did a normal one, a serious one. And, just did it in like half an hour or something, nothing special. I'm no runner, and I never planned to be, really, to be honest with you. A couple of comments in already. Someone saying there, hello lads, hard one to take yesterday, but nothing lost yet. We go again, as the saying goes. Someone else saying that they're not particularly a fan of Manchester United. Me neither. And CS says, surely today a mention about ticket prices and some of the social media posts around it. Well, we will indeed be doing that. I think the plan will be that will probably be on the second show, just because there's plenty to talk about here and there's definitely plenty to talk about there. So if you want to stay with us, we'll be live on Patreon straight after this. You can sign up for a free trial, get involved, jump on and watch straight away. If you're watching afterwards or at a different time, you'll be able to watch it as a video or as a podcast. And indeed, this is out as a podcast as well, if you want to watch things that way around. So, how are you feeling? How are you feeling, mate, about it all, first of all? I know how I'm feeling about it, but how are you?
I've realised, I think, almost the best use of this podcast is as a therapy / coaching session after games like this. And I think it's the best thing we can do is use the first part to have our big, as you've said, big therapy session, cathartic, get it all out of our systems, and then we can move. I'm not ready to all the messages jumping straight. I used to do this, jump straight to it's all great, don't worry, blah, blah. I'm like, no. We need to get this out of our systems first. We need to get. Honestly, before I watched it yesterday, I was just sitting there. I was actually watching it at my mum's, and Siobhan, who gets a mention on this a lot, my girlfriend, was watching it. She's not a footy fan, so I'm just telling her about it and like setting the scene for her, trying to involve her. And I said to her, I've already got my line set for the podcast tomorrow. And she went, what? Because I was expecting us to win. I said, I was going to say, if Liverpool get through to the end of this season against this Man United side, having played them 3 times and don't beat them in any of those 3 games, the owners should leave. The management staff and all the coaching staff should all be sacked. The players should all be sold, and every fan who's been to any of the games should never go to a game again. That's how much I think of this Man United side. And then I'm sitting watching it unfold, going, don't you dare do it again. Because the big thing going into this game was, I think we were all saying, we had that warning from the FA Cup. They knocked us out the FA Cup, but the great thing about that is, we know now, when we're on top, put them to bed, because we're going to Old Trafford. Carragher was saying it, it's Old Trafford, and I know exactly what he meant, because I was doing the same thing, because we didn't batter Sheffield United, and Klopp mentioned the whole thing about fans getting into goal difference, but you can't help yourself, can you? I don't think Jurgen realises how scarred we all are by 13-14, and we are, so we're all obsessed with goal difference now. So when Sheffield United at home was coming up, we were all thinking, I'll get a few goals here and that'll boost us. So we didn't do that. So then going into Old Trafford, I was like, well, maybe actually we'll do them at Old Trafford. We'll do another 5-0 here. And when the game started and it's going the way it was going again, you're like, yes, sound, we'll do it this time. Get 2-0 out. As soon as we scored the first, I'm sitting there, I went, if we go 2-0 up here, their heads will go, Old Trafford will be gone, and it'll be another 5-0. And the longer it went on without it, I was like, don't you dare do this. When the Mainu goal went in, I literally put my head in my hands, literally going, you bastards, don't do this to us again. I genuinely am struggling to get over the fact, I know this is a long monologue for now, but I'm struggling to get over the fact this Liverpool team, under this manager, with these players, have not beaten this Man United team this season in 3 games. It's an absolute disgrace. I know. I'm genuinely struggling to comprehend it. This is, I remember saying this when we were watching Solskjaer's United team. I saw you on a clip on a show you did for someone else in the week, talking about, and our generation talks about this, don't we? We were scarred by Man United under Ferguson. Yeah. 20 years of watching them be great while we were shit-ish, and them winning games in the last minute and all of that. But either side of that, actually, we have seen some bad Man United teams. Some really bad Man United teams. And when we were watching Solskjaer's team and we were all made up, he kept Joe, we were like, keep him in a job, make sure he stays in a job. I was like, well, that'll be it now. Do you know what I mean? Ten Hag started well. I thought the way he handled the Ronaldo situation, I thought he's going somewhere. In the past few months, watching how they play and listening to how he speaks, I've never seen a Man United side like this. It's an absolute basket case. It's funny that he criticised Jamie Carragher for what Carragher said the other week about the way they're set up, and completely ignored that that's what everybody says about them, because that is how they set up. And I'm watching him during the week. I messaged you with one saying he's starting to come across like Hodgson here. Like when people are saying to him, well, no one really understands how you're set up, and he's like, well, we know how we're set up, which says to me he intends to set up like this. I've never seen anything like it. Carragher said it I know he's getting lots of comments here, but he said it in commentary. It was like watching a schoolboy game. The way they play football, Man United now, is like a schoolboy game. You lot attack and you lot defend and nothing in between. As you can tell by the way I'm talking about it, I'm still struggling to comprehend how we didn't beat them. Do you know what? Even after they went ahead, I'm like, just keep your heads here, lads. Just keep it. I mean,
even the way it all unfolded, we still could have won it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We still got chances to, we scored a penalty, and then there's chances.
Well, there's still 15 minutes left,
and we could and should have still won the game despite everything.
Yeah.
And as you say, it is so frustrating because they're so bad and they're so far off us, and they're so far off being our business. But I said yesterday, it just reminds me of when the boot was on the other foot, really, and the classic was. The season before the Premier League started, and I was there on the Cop. We beat them, and we were singing to them. You lost the league on Merseyside.
It was a song for years, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that this is their version of that. But even that, that wasn't what it was like. It wasn't like it was a bear pit. It wasn't like it was like intimidating. I thought they started a little bit nervy. There was a couple of passes going astray and things like that, and you thought, ooh. And obviously they had an offside, but it was well offside. You know what I mean? It was no indication of anything good they were doing. It was clearly offside with the naked eye, without any need for VAR. And then after that, it was just like possession, wasn't it? You know, they have no shots in the first half. We're all over them. And you're just like, good. Like,
but that was my concern again. We did the same thing we did in the FA Cup. They were so bad. We started playing football at walking pace. And when you're watching it going, I can't believe this. I can't believe Liverpool are playing away at Old Trafford and we're playing at walking pace because it's a procession. And they did the same thing again. It's almost like some Darren Brown mind trick. They suck us down to playing like... It's like our players were like, this is so easy. But that's the thing. It's like, this is so easy. We'll just walk all over.
It's just final ball, isn't it? It was final ball. It was the decision making. It was the finishing. You know, but it was, you know, we were allowed free rein to just get to the edge of their box time after time.
Yeah.
And, you know, Szoboszlai for me should have been banging off. We know what he's capable of doing. McAllister as well. You know, test the keeper, like, you know, let ping it round in the box a bit more. But it was almost like you say, it was so easy. It was almost like they were overcome with their options, like, and there was loads of that, wasn't it? Overplay. We had a 5-on-2 again, like in the cup game, and we didn't take advantage of it, like in the cup game.
But I think it's funny. I think accidentally. I don't think this is any masterstroke by Ten Hag. I think they've found a way of getting us to not be effective. This Liverpool team and the way Klopp's teams play generally, I think we are better when there's more at stake. Do you know what I mean? I think like when the pressure is really on, we are more clinical. When the heat gets turned up, it's why we're so good at coming back from behind. When the temperature gets turned up, we get better. And I think as the temperature drops and we relax, we're not Man City. Man City would just clinically take them apart. But I think we need that extra bit of spark in there to almost to focus the mind, to be like, you know, 3 short passes to score a goal. Whereas yesterday again, it was that thing of like, yeah, well, if this pass doesn't come off perfectly, we're going to get another opportunity in a minute.
I think the other thing is though as well, we're just not as ruthless, are we, as we once were? You know, we're scoring goals, we're top of the league or ish. You know, no one's got more points than us. Arsenal got more goals than us. No one else has got more points than us. And to me, like, there's not loads wrong, if you like, but equally, you know, it had you pining for the days of Mane, for me, you know, Salah. That's what we were talking about in the pub. Yeah, it was like, you know, like, because Diaz is brilliant at carrying the ball. Diaz is brilliant at taking a man on. Diaz is not brilliant at being a ruthless finisher. You know, Núñez brings absolutely loads to the team. We've talked about him over and over on here. But one thing he's not is ruthless. And he's shown that. And then you've got Salah, who's a little bit out of form. You know, he's not quite himself, is he? I think it's a bit premature, some of the stuff I'm hearing about that's him done now. He's too old. That started again already off the back of one game. I think it was a case of, you know, you can talk about, and I hear people talk about all the time, you know, like a venue or an occasion getting to a team. I don't think it was that. I think maybe the situation, as in where we are in the league, how tight it is, how horrible that is, that might have, because it was almost like over deliberate at times. You know what I mean? Like, let's really make sure, instead of just sort of going with the flow and sort of, you know, not overthinking it. They were it was the opposite. They were overthinking it. And yeah, I mean, how that looks now, in terms of what the bookies make, we always give that a shout out. The odds have changed so many times this season. They changed again, as you would expect, after the back of that. So Man City are now the favourites, 6-4. Arsenal 7-4, and Liverpool 9-4. But the whole thing that's come to my mind with all this is, it's just that stressful, this, isn't it? You know, over the weekend, I like the feature on Facebook where, you know, you can pull up old posts and it reminds you of things and all. I think that's, you know, for all the criticism of that platform, I think that's quite a nice thing. And, you know, you see like pictures of the kids from years ago and stuff like that. But when I went on it this weekend, they came up with a post by me, obviously, but it almost feels like a former life, in 2014. And I'm in the pub with me mates and I'm saying, like, you know, wow, who would have thought at the start of the season, with 5 games to go, we'd have a chance of winning the league. This is amazing, blah, 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 blah. And I was almost looking at that past version of myself going, you poor fucker.
Yeah.
because we didn't win it.
Don't know what's coming. Yeah.
But then obviously my next thought was, is that what this season's going to feel like? And I felt like sort of like quite on edge with it really, and sort of it's got to me, and I'm just a fan. It's got to me this week, not because it was Man United, just because of how tight it is and how few games that are left, and how much we've been enjoying this run. And we've obviously tasted that disappointment quite a few times of really good runs, really good seasons, loads of fun, but us not quite getting over the line. And I saw one journalist go with exactly what I thought. I thought if I was a journalist in there and I wasn't of a Liverpool persuasion, I would have wrote, is Kwanzaa the Gerrard moment? Do you know what I mean? And you know, but as I read, that obviously hurts me to say, but the thought did cross my mind when it happened. I was just like, it's just so mad. You know what I mean? Not on him for a second. It happens. It's football. It's random. You know what I mean? We're human beings. Not on the lad at all. I actually thought he was brilliant, by the way, how well he recovered from such a thing. Yeah, you know what I mean? He's there involved in the goal. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's down. He's doing backflips and all kinds down that side. Great. And you know, I think he's been absolute quality. And like, you know, I hope he's all right. Do you know what I mean? I hope mentally he's dealt with it. I suggest he has. Like, it looked like he has. It didn't look like it got to him on the pitch. Fair play. But yeah, it was just one of those random moments in footy where it's like he's done something that's inexplicable. It's fell to that rat face, horrible Fernandes. And you know what? If it had fell to anyone else, it probably is not in the back of the net. Because, you know, I don't like him for loads of reasons. Well, he plays for them. I don't like his moaning. I don't like his body language. I don't know why he's got the captain's armband. He's an absolute blurt. But obviously he's quite good. Like, you know what I mean? Footy. Yeah. You know, obviously he's got like unbelievable technique, and it felt weird. It felt like, you know, like it felt like an out of body experience, that goal. Yeah. Because oh no, you're like, oh no when he makes the pass, and then you're like, oh no when it's fell to him, and then it was like the you know, it didn't go, I couldn't get a ticket, and it was like the camera didn't quite keep up with it at first. You know what I mean? Yeah. And the next minute it's in, and you're like, no. Yeah. Because we were literally saying things in the pub, and I'm sure you thought it or said it to whoever you would, whatever, where you're going, we've had 15 shots in the first half, and they've had none. They're at home. The Manchester United, as we're reminded on a weekly basis by your mate Gary Neville. And they've had no shots. And then, you know, someone said, of course they did, because, again, human, you go, it's going to be one of them, innit? Their first shot's going to be a goal. And then that's exactly what unfolds. And there's all daft graphics today of, like, you know, their penalty area, you know, pockmarked by all the Liverpool attempts. And then their one attempt with a big line leading to the goal, and you're just like, how's that happened? How? But yeah, it is stressful. It is horrible, and I've had a bit of sort of a bit of a dark 24 hours of the soul, really. You know, thinking about it all. It's not done wonders for me state of mind, and some of it. We keep saying cathartic therapy, all that. I hope when I walk out of here in, you know, a couple of hours or whatever, that's how I feel, because I've been looking at it today and I've just been like, some of it feels quite ominous now. I know we still got a chance, and I know there's 7 games left, and I know they can slip up and blah, blah, blah. But I'm looking at City's like run recently, and they haven't lost since December. They lost 1-0 to Aston Villa. And Arsenal, you know, lost to Porto in February, but obviously turned that round, ended up going 2-1 pens. And they've been pretty impressive as well, if we're being honest. I think I was thinking about us talking about them, and I was thinking if you're an Arsenal fan who's watched us, and I doubt there's many of them, but you know, if you're an Arsenal fan who's watching us, you're thinking, them two aren't giving us much credit here. Do you know what I mean?
I think. Well, I feel like I have though. I feel like I've given them, and I was messaging my brother-in-law, who's an Arsenal fan, before and after the game over the weekend. I get how it works with the stats and all the rest of it, and their running is tougher than City's. But if you just take all 3 teams on performance and form, they're miles ahead of both us and City. I know City won comfortably in the end on Saturday. But I was watching that game sort of like one eye on it while I was in the car, and they're still fallible. This is the thing about us and City and I don't like about us, and it's something I want to mention going back to everyone blaming the attack for us not beating United. Arsenal have done that thing that we did in the season we finally won it under Klopp. I always get my years mixed up, but I think forever and a day, especially amongst footy fans, there's this idea that the best teams are the best attacking teams. And I think all coaches that become successful all realise one thing, and that's the vast majority, if not all success, is built on good defence, not on good attack. And obviously you've got to find the right balance between the two. But if you're going to go either way, the best way to go is in favour of a slightly better defence. Why? Very basic. If you keep a clean sheet, you can win games 1-0. And Arsenal, they learned that lesson last year. They had this flamboyant attack. And in the summer, Arteta, and I remember go back to the start of the season, Arteta was getting a lot of stick because he changed the way they play slightly. And even the Arsenal fans were giving him stick, saying, what have you done? And it was like he took a sideways step to become more solid. And their defensive numbers are unbelievable. But what that means is they're going into games with this. Remember what we were like in the year we won the league? I reckon that was the least exciting Jurgen Klopp side we've watched, because it was just methodical. It would just win games. We had none of this like ridiculous going behind and coming back. And football's more exciting like that, don't get me wrong. It's more fun. But to win the big trophies, you see it in World Cups and things like that as well. And I've seen Southgate getting stick for this for England, because England fans like, you need to score more goals. And you can tell Southgate behind the scenes is like, nah, you need to be dead solid. Like usually the most solid teams win tournaments.
Well, Saliba got injured, didn't he, last year as well?
Well, exactly.
And then he's played pretty much every game this season.
Yeah, and that's made a massive difference to them.
And obviously got Rice.
So I think if City had Arsenal's fixture list, I think the odds would be different. The problem with City is you look down their list and you think, who's going to take points off them now? Other than Spurs away. But then my brother-in-law made a great point, and I know what everyone says, like Postecoglou's not going to care about this, but City might have to play Spurs. Like it still hasn't been put in the fixture list, has it? Yeah. I don't think. It might be in the last week of the season. Imagine if Spurs have to beat City and that hands the league to Arsenal. We've been in that position. It does have an impact on you, because the whole stadium will be different. The home fans will be in that like, not sure we want to win this game. We've been there. We've literally been in that environment, haven't we? And I remember what Anfield was like that day against Blackburn. I remember when Jamie Redknapp scored a free kick against Blackburn.
Yeah, it was weird, that one.
And the reaction to it was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced inside Anfield. Yeah. Like oh shit. Oh, that it does. It has an impact on the game. So let's get all. I was going to move into the positives then. Let's get the negatives out the way first. That's my concern with us in this run-in now. Two big concerns. One, I haven't vocalized before, with that like superstitious fear that once you've said it out loud, it'll make it come true. One of my concerns going into this run-in was we'll be too emotional, because that's what happened in 13-14. Our emotions got the better of us. That game against Chelsea, the Gerrard slip should not have mattered. We still had a whole game to score, and we only needed to draw. But remember what happened? We stopped playing. We stopped playing footy. Gerrard himself, I've heard admit, like he started trying to win that game. I've seen it.
Remember, yeah.
Have you ever seen the analysis of it when someone's compared how we played up to that game? Like Suarez turning the centre backs and making space for a pass, and where that ball was getting played into him in the games running up to that, it wasn't. Gerrard's head went. Gerrard was like, I need to win this back. I need to score us a goal here. I felt like that happened to us a little bit at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I do.
That's my concern, is that it becomes so emotional. Everyone wants to win so much for Klopp. Yeah. It's like, and Klopp is desperately trying to get them to slow down.
Yeah, he's trying to say,
calm
just
down.
Trust the process that's got you to here.
But that's easier said than done, isn't it?
It is, because, and that's what I was trying to say before about the sort of you know, the pressure of the situation, how close it is now. You know, we can almost reach out and touch it, but equally, you know, that very small margins could cost you. All of that's hard mentally to deal with, isn't it? And it's you know, we talk all the time, don't we, about one of my favourite things almost is talking about the chimp coming out, the Steve Peters thing. The chimp will be screaming about that. Lad, you've just missed that. That's going to cost you the league, do you know what I mean? And he like, shut up. I've sat down with the psychologist. I know that's not a thing, but it'll still you can do all the work you want. Those thoughts still come through. Those thoughts still filter through, and it's hard to deal with.
But that does tie into something we will come on to about the positives that we've got coming. My big thing about the defence is, and again, Carragher, I think was on the podcast afterwards, saying the attackers cost us that game. At the end of the day, we still scored 2 goals at Old Trafford, and if our defence, I know it was a big mistake and all the rest of it that cost us, but the Mainu goal comes from us being all over the place defensively. I think I even said it on one of our shows after we played them last time, and that's why I thought we'd batter them this time. I remember in the last game there was a moment where Szoboszlai got the ball in midfield for us, and there wasn't a Man United player anywhere near him. It was crazy.
I know.
It was that thing like their attack, then a massive gap, then their defence, which is what everyone's been talking about lately. The Mainu goal, if you watch it back, Mainu picks the ball up in midfield in exactly the same way.
Yeah.
And Klopp mentioned it post-match. That was when apparently he was kicking off on the side of the pitch. That's just not like us. That's not where we're meant to be. There's not meant to be those gaps between our midfield and our defence. And that's where I'm a bit like, look, we can criticise the attack and we can say they're not being clinical enough, but I think you've got it in here somewhere that, you know, it's hard to start saying a side that scored 100 goals in the season is not scoring enough goals. So it's like, well, hang on, shouldn't we be a bit more solid then? Didn't we win the league by being a bit more solid? And that's my only thing with this is, I think there's room here for us to just get our heads, get a bit more compact again. It's all right to forget, and I think the goal difference does play a role in this. It's all right to win games 1-0. It's all right to win games 2-0. I think we've all got back into that mindset, me included, while you're watching Liverpool, of one's not enough. We need a second. And it would actually help if we just went, I think it would help if we won 2 games 1-0 and just went to everyone. It's all right to win 1-0, you know. We haven't kept a clean sheet for weeks now, have we? And that's a big deal. Like I think we need to get back to that.
Yeah, a couple of things that have come up in the comments just there. Nice one to Scouser Pete, who's thrown in a super chat. You can throw one in yourself if you fancy back on what we do. And there's also the option of Patreon, and there's also the option of, what's it called? Buy us a coffee.
Buy me a coffee. Yeah.
Buy me a coffee. We'll put all those links in the YouTube later if you want to get involved with all of that. Yeah, in terms of the running, let's just do that before we talk about the match, because I feel like this is what's still on everyone's mind, certainly mine. So, Arsenal, I've got Villa at home, Wolves away, Chelsea at home, Spurs away, Bournemouth at home, Man United away, which Klopp thinks they'll win comfortably, and which some people are interpreting as mind games, and Everton at home. We've got Palace. We've obviously got Atalanta on Thursday, which I actually think is quite nice. Like that's like feels like that could be like a bit of a palate cleanser, like because it's a different competition. Yeah. You know, you haven't got all that stuff that we just talked about that stress and strain, the pressure of the table almost. Yeah. That's not there, is it? Yeah. And like, you know, I think most people think we'll do all right against them. You don't want to get too carried away, and they're obviously no mugs to be where they are. But it does feel like quite a nice. I'm glad it's that. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It feels like I'm kind of looking forward to that and just going and watching a game of footy and not going like, oh, because, you know, Sheffield United was tense, Brighton was tense, yesterday was tense.
Well, every league game between now and the end of the season, whilst we're still in with a chance, and we all forget this, don't we? It's stressful. Yeah, we all say we want to be here, but as soon as it's here, it's really stressful for everyone. So, I mean, the reality is, we want this stress to the end of the season because it means we've still got a chance to win the league. We're still in it, yeah. If the stress goes between now and the end of the season, it probably means we're out of the running. I don't think it's a coincidence that the year we won it, we just ran off with it at the start, and then we had it boxed off early on. I think that was the best way for us to break that 30 years without a title, because we're seeing now just how much that affection. I guess the bookies know that as well. That's with City have been there and done that. There's still that question mark over Arsenal with their fixtures, because what's not on here is the ones you just
Champions League
is the Champions League,
and also
Arsenal's next 6 games are ridiculous.
I think that's a good point as well about sort of them at some point feeling this as well, because they look, what I've seen of them, I'm not sitting down watching them every night or watching full games or anything, but they look in a groove, they look like they're in a system, they look like they're playing well. But how will they cope with a bit of adversity? How will they cope when it starts? If they're top and they're staying there now, and they'll be now having the conversations we were having about, we're in the box seat now. That goal difference is unlikely to be turned over. It's like an extra point. So all we've got to do now, is win 7 games. Win seven games and we've won the league. That in itself is suddenly a pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
And how will they cope with that? Will it affect the sleep? Will it be in the minds? Will it affect the stadium? Will the manager overthink it? All of those things might still come into play, and it'll be interesting to see.
This is interesting, isn't it? It's like with us when we were trying to win our first one in ages. It's not just win 7 games and you win the league. It's win 7 games and you win the first league this club's won
20 years.
In 20 years.
Yeah.
You become immortalised, and you start hearing things like that, and you start thinking things like that. They'll build statues about you. Everyone will remember you forever. At the same time, I was thinking about...
And we blew it last season.
And we've got 2... The problem Arsenal have got is they haven't just got City to deal with. In this situation previously, we've only had City to deal with. They've got both of us. So they can look at City, and I've been doing this to comfort myself. At least we're still a point ahead of City. If they drop any points, and either us or City go perfect from here, they've gone. Football is in a completely different place than it used to be. And they've also got that thing that I mentioned a couple of weeks ago, where, and I genuinely think this has cost us in the past few years, their attention split. If they I know this sounds like a mad thing to say, because they might end up winning the league and the Champions League, but if you're going for your first league in 20 years, and at the same time you're going for your first Champions League ever, it's very, very difficult to do both of those things at the same time. Like the chances of doing both are slim. And to try and do both means you're reducing the chances of doing either. And I do just wonder whether that is going to be a little thing that takes away from them. There's a big thing here as well, and I do hope they get through. I hope they knock Bayern Munich out. But you've got to bear in mind that Bayern Munich have got nothing left to play for except the Champions League. So they're all in. Tuchel doesn't have to worry about team selection. Full strength for both Arsenal games. Fully in. Anyone who's got a little knock plays through it, gets an injection, plays through. Arsenal can't do that. Arsenal have still got to do... I've been thinking a lot about this lately. Do you know and all the managers do this and still try and fucking convince us it's true. The bullshit of we only take 1 game at a time.
No, my ass.
And you're like... If that was genuinely
like,
true, why would you ever leave Haaland out your team? Why would you ever leave Salah out your team? You just play him every week.
I hate that. We should do a show where we just go through all the things about football that do our heads in. That phrase would be on there. And the one when someone scored an absolute worldie and they come out to the microphone and go like, oh yeah, didn't really think too much about it. It's all about the team and the 3 points. Shut up! Like, walk out. Did you see that comment, by the way? Oh my God, I meant to save it. And now I don't know exactly who it was. Hopefully, maybe someone in the comments can tell me exactly who it was. But there was a comment somewhere, one of the leagues, not here obviously, where the fellas basically come out and said like, for want of a better phrase, that because his goal was so boss, that he was going to go home that night and, pleasure himself.
Crack one off. Really? Brilliant. What a shout.
And I just thought, imagine all media was like that. Imagine they came out and said what they really thought and not what the media training tells them to say.
Well, did you see Mainoo's post-match interview? And I felt for him, like, he's a young lad. He must be on, like, living in the clouds with what's happening to him in the past few months.
Good goal, man.
He made his debut for United. He scored his first professional goal at Old Trafford against Liverpool with an absolute screamer. He's made his debut for England. People are talking about him going to the Euros. And when he gets asked about that goal post-match, it's exactly your point. He goes, yeah, well, we didn't win, so it took the edge off it. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, shut up,
absolute bollocks. You are made up.
Simon Kendrick, thanks for throwing in £10 there. He says, some of our fans are deluded. We're still top, although level, and they're suggesting it's over. Anyway, enjoy a pint, lads. Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
Someone's goat has also thrown in £5, so thank you to someone's goat. Yeah, so we did that. Well, I was in the middle of doing our fixtures. So yeah, Palace at home, Fulham away, Everton away, West Ham away. That worries me, that run of 3 aways. I don't like that, but it is what it is. Spurs at home, Aston Villa away, and then we finished the league campaign with Wolves at home. City have got Luton at home. Brighton away, maybe okay. Maybe that might be difficult.
Yeah, but we said Brighton away for Arsenal.
I know, and then it wasn't.
Them.
I know. I mean, Nottingham Forest away, Wolves at home, Fulham away. I mean, we've got them as well. West Ham at home, and then the Spurs away, which, as you mentioned, is still to be arranged.
This is the funny thing about when you're doing this. So, like, when and I love the way your mind does somersaults. So I look at it, because as you did, I look at City's fixture list and go, Fulham away, that might be tricky. And then I see them in our fixture list and go, nah, we'll beat them. Like, is there any way it can be tricky for them but not for us? Can we sort that out, please? The only thing I have been thinking a lot about in the past couple of weeks is, because we've seen this before as well, in this run-in, and this can equally apply to us, by the way, as well, this is why we need to be careful. It can be one of the games you least expect.
Yeah.
That causes the mistake.
100%.
Because everybody switches off a bit. And I do wonder whether, like, random one, just as you read that out then, I just got a feeling of Notts Forest away for City. Like, Notts Forest are fighting for the lives.
Don't say Notts.
Don't you like that?
It. No, they
don't like it.
Yeah.
I'm not asked. Notts Forest. That could be one, like, because that's in amongst, because I don't know exactly where the Champions League games fit into this, but in the next 6, they've got, so I know Arsenal's fixture list, so they've got Real Madrid in between Brighton, Forest and Wolves, I think. So you just never know with something like that. Do you know what I mean? It could be a Forest at home in that ground, bombarding them, going sort of back to basics. We saw how Arsenal shut out City by being solid defensively. You just never know. And I know everyone's going on about this, and everyone expects City to just win their games.
Yeah.
It's weird, I'm not as worried about City as I'm about Arsenal.
Well, this is the thing, and this is what I was just about to come on to. So, the weekly shout out for Andrew Beasley, bass tuned to red on Twitter. He put a tweet that took my eye. I like anyone who's trying to sort of, turn this round and say, come on. And he said, as I wrote this week, in the last 2 decades, there have only been 3 instances of a club who were in the top 3 at this point, winning their final 8 games. Maybe Arsenal and or City manage it this season, but history suggests they might not. And someone else there, he's quote tweeting a tweet when he's saying the bar has been set so high by Klopp that a 2-2 draw at Old Trafford that teases joint top of the league feels like the worst day ever. Whatever happens. I still think City and Arsenal will drop points.
I disagree with that slightly, though.
There's people in the comments saying the same.
But I don't think it's just the bar that's been set by high by Klopp.
It's the way it went on the day.
It's the bar that's been set by so high by City. Because in every season before City, if we'd have drawn with United at Old Trafford at this point in the season and we were joint top of the league, we'd have been sound.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Go, sound. You would,
because no one would expect anyone to just win every game.
And this is the daft thing, like, isn't it, about some of the nonsense from the Manchester United fans, both during the match and after the match, and some of the banners and all the rest of it. And it's like, just have a bit of self-awareness, lads. Yeah, you won those league titles, but as we already covered in depth on here, so we're not doing it again. It was easier to win the league, lads, because you weren't up against, like, statistically the best team in the Premier League, basically.
I'm pretty sure United's highest points total to win the league under Ferguson this season, we'll check this, right, before people start jumping on me, but I think it would probably get them 4th this season. there's a very good chance, we've said this before, but there's a very good chance the top 3 teams in England this year get over 90 points. That is ridiculous. The team that finishes 3rd in the league could break 90 points. Yeah.
We've lost 2 games.
Man United were winning leagues. I know, as you say, we went through it. But I think they got 86 points one year. If you get 86...
Not less than that.
No, but I mean, I think that was the upper end. If you get 86 points this year, you finish from 4th. Which is ludicrous as well, by the way. Like, that would be the case. But that's what we're up against now.
I don't know what I'm seeing arguments against it. I don't really know what the argument against it is. Man City hardly ever drop points, hardly ever lose a game.
Arguments against what?
What we just said. Like, so if you haven't got a team doing that, it is therefore easier to win. I don't know what you're on about, mate. Yeah.
That's mad, isn't it?
Also, Ryan O'Hanlon, he was reposted by Andrew Beasley. Updated odds, just those things where you don't really know how they've done it, but we all say it anyway. Manchester City 37% chance of winning the league now, up 6%. Arsenal 34, up 7. Liverpool 29, down 13. So there you go. The game itself then as well, I mean, we'll just run through some of the stats. I mean, you already know this, but pretty much expected goals, Liverpool, near enough 4 goals. Man United less than 1. Ball possession, so we had 62%. We had 28 shots, they had 9. We had 7 on target, they had 5. Corner kicks, we had 11, they had 6. Pretty much as you would expect. Every stat says it should have been Liverpool, and it should have been Liverpool. I had to look through some of the some of the press reports today. The Echo mentioning that it's now. I mean, it's not spin, it's fact. But to come on, it just doesn't feel. I was trying to do it myself. I was almost trying to convince myself after a pint. I'm on Twitter, saying, "Come on," you know what I mean? Like with this side that no one expected to beat. But and one lad, to be fair, I quite liked that reply. He just went to me like, "Too soon, Robbo." Do you know what I mean? And I was like, "I know, but I'm just trying. I'm looking for something. I'm doing it for my own benefit almost."
Yeah, I'm trying to get to sleep tonight.
You know what I mean? But the Echo put it's 27 points gleaned from losing positions this term, which obviously, was largely down to what Harvey Elliott was doing there. But yeah, there's some other interesting stuff in here which I think we need to get into. The Independent said in their piece, the other side of this is that Liverpool always give you a chance. You said this, they haven't kept a clean sheet since the start of March at Nottingham Forest. And that was only the second in the league this calendar year, 2 in 12 games. The Telegraph in their report said Liverpool may end this season as a quiz answer to the most unlikely sporting question: which team scored more than 100 goals but lost the title because they were not clinical enough? Jurgen Klopp's side have passed the century in all competitions a few weeks ago, and in the Premier League, there's only one side that scored more than Liverpool this season, and yet, and the Times said Jurgen Klopp's side has 2 points to show for 62 chances created in 2 league games against Manchester United. No wonder Arsenal are ahead on goal difference. That's the most any team has had against a single opponent since records began.
And it's worth pointing out as well, we didn't score a goal from open play in either game with those chances. I know. We scored a pen and a corner.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. 2 points against a side that are just so shit.
And look, I do want to say, Joe, for all the United fans, and you mentioned it, and I've seen you saying in a couple places, of course, if there's any United fans watching or you see clips of this, before you jump on us, of course, we'd be celebrating as well in the same place you're in.
We already said
that. But behind the scenes, surely none of them are kidded by this. If you're a United fan watching that, aren't you they concede 30 goals in practically every game. 30
shots.
Goals. 30 shots. Wish it was 30 goals. Fucking hell. 30 goals, 30 shots against them in practically every game. And they've got their manager saying basically, this is what we're doing. This is what I'm trying to play. Yeah. You're like, what?
I know.
Surely even your players are going, sorry mate, I haven't got a clue what you're talking about here.
They'll go and lose someone as well, crap, very soon, and that'll annoy us now. It's just going to be this. It's just going to be this bugbear when Bournemouth go and stuff them or something, and you're going, why couldn't it be us? We're good.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And they've lost to Palace, I think, at home this season. Lost to Bournemouth at home.
Fulham.
Lost to Fulham. it's just lads, and like I can't show you it because we're not we're not that technical here with this particular show, but you know what, I just put it on our agenda for Kopi really, but one of those match momentum charts, and it's just like all loads and loads of peaks for Liverpool all the way through. Bear in mind this is at Manchester United's home ground, and then it's just these little tiny 3 basically molehills in 90 minutes representing when they had a little bit of a go again.
What's like, funny about it? I wish we could put this up. Their first goal comes in the middle of one of our dominance. Like, we've got the ball loads and they just score.
Yeah.
And look, it is worth saying as well, and I know other people have said this, and you said it earlier, it's an unbelievable finish. Like, and that is unlucky. It is unlucky. And luck plays a role. That's the other side of this. Luck will play a role in this. The year City beat us and Company put that one in the top corner. Yeah. You could let Vincent Kompany hit that shot 1,000 times, even outside of matches. Let him do it in training. Let him do it in the park. 999 times, it's not going in the top corner.
I mean, there was someone who sent me a tweet about Klopp last night, and it just proper baffled me, because it was like, well, what did you want him to do about what went on at Old Trafford there? Because they created shitloads of chances. One of the goals has come from like an absolute brain fart that, again, it's not the manager's plan for Kwanzaa to do that. Equally, we see him going mad, as you say, about the midfield cover on the one, that their second goal. How's that on Klopp? It's not on Klopp, is it? And I think anyone who's, in any way got some brain cells isn't going to be blaming the manager for it. But yeah, 3 games against Man United, 87 shots, no victories. And there's loads of chances, isn't there? Obviously Szoboszlai denied by Onana, then he's shooting wide from sort of 7 yards or so. Salah blazing over. Obviously Diaz does score. They have no shots in the first half. It's just, that mad one as well, where they're moving it round. It ends up at Darwin Núñez, and then he squares it to no one. He's not shooting there, is he? That
was the one where I lost it.
Yeah,
watching it on telly, because I'm like,
mad.
I don't even know what you're
trying to do. No, exactly.
Just have a shot.
I don't know what he was trying to do there.
Or pull it back, but do one or the other.
And isn't this meant to be cathartic?
Yeah, well, I was going to say to you, should we? Because I am feeling better for getting this off my chest. You threw it here though, and I was going to say this. I was going to say this, John. Even for the last 5 minutes, wasn't there? Because we've been saying this. There's a Dan's moment in this title run-in. Wouldn't you have lashed him on? And I was trying to think, had we run out of subs? But did he only make 4?
Yeah, he had a sub. Yeah, he could have done it.
Wouldn't you have lashed him on?
Yeah, I put it down on the agenda, and I would have,
for 5 minutes
because he's a wild card. He's got scouse power about him. There's he's got that sort of young exuberance, that I don't care type thing. Yeah, I would have. 100%.
And I think at the end, for 5 minutes at the end of that game, there was nothing to lose, because we'd already switched to 4-4-2. We were already more solid. We'd already got more structure. So you could have brought him on for Diaz up front and just gone to him, lad, literally go and create chaos, leg it round, shoot from anywhere you get the ball, do whatever you want. So I do think there was an argument for that. I understand why he doesn't with young lads in games like that, but I would have.
Yeah, Klopp said about the sort of not being clinical. He said we were in a bit of a rush. I'd have loved us to take an extra touch. You always have to take different things from the game. I know the outside world will get nervous, but we have to be calm. It's going to be full of life, excitement and desire. The goals we've scored have got us where we are. We need to build on that. We'll deal with that in the right way. I'm not over the moon, but it's okay. You take what you get. If we were more clinical, then we could have won here. And yeah, you're not wrong there. Sky Sports put up a thing about being clinical. So this season, Liverpool have had more shots than Man City. They've had more shots than Arsenal. They've had more big chances than Arsenal and Man City. They've also had more big chances missed. And our expected goals is 71.85, and the goals we've scored is 72.
Do you know what's interesting about that stat though? That stat is, I often think this about certain stats. That stat is presented as a way of showing that we are not as clinical as City and Arsenal. But if you look at it, what it's also showing is we score about the amount of goals we're expected to. They are both, up to this point, massively outperforming their expected goals. So on this chart, because you can't see it at home, Arsenal expected goals is 62.3 and they've scored 75. They've outperformed their XG by 13. City's is just under 64 XG and they've scored 71. So they've outperformed it by just over 7. Now that's hard to do. I remember someone saying this about Jamie Vardy years ago. Like when people were saying, "Oh, Jamie, you buy Jamie Vardy." You're like, no. Like for a player to outperform their XG year after year is like superstar status. So if you're backing him to be a superstar, yeah. But actually, what's more than likely going to happen is he's going to revert to the mean and he's going to go back to just hitting his XG, which makes him a good striker, but not an unbelievable striker, which is what happened. So moving into like positive news, positivity, let's like feel better about ourselves for territory. We're performing at the level we should, and we're creating all these chances, and we're scoring the right amount of goals. They could both dip here for goal scoring.
They could.
If they revert to mean in the last 7 games of the season, that means they could have 1 or 2 games where they underperform goal scoring wise.
But we're 14th for shooting accuracy.
Yeah,
just to piss on your chips there.
Yeah, that's it.
And you know, Núñez, as many people have pointed out all season long, misses quite a lot of clear-cut chances. He does, of course, assist a goal yesterday.
But he also, and I always want to throw this in for Núñez, he also gets a lot of those clear-cut chances because of who he is.
Yeah.
We've said that before, but it's worth saying it again. Like, did we mention this the other week? I saw Les Ferdinand and Ian Wright talking about Andy Cole, because he used to always get criticised for that. He gets 9 chances in a game and only scores 2. And as fellow professional strikers, they were like, show me another striker that gets that many chances in a game.
You would like to see, you know, it's high time now for Jota to come back, isn't it, really? Like, we're all sort of fingers crossed and all the rest of it.
This is my main positivity thing, right, for the end of season running. We have got, and the others haven't got this, we have got the best goalie in the world to come back into our team. And don't get me wrong, I've got a conversation maybe for the Patreon about Keller and Alisson. Keller's been great, but he's not as good as Alisson. We've got Trent Alexander-Arnold to come back in.
That's big.
Who is one of the best players in Europe. And we've got Diogo Jota, who is phenomenal. One of the best goal scorers in the league. The other thing about those 3 players, especially the first 2, is they have been there and done it and won everything. And I know we're saying Trent is a young player, but he's our vice captain and he's won everything. He's been there for these run-ins. He's done it before. So has Alisson. And I know you can say the goalies at the back end of the pitch and the rest of it. I think it makes a difference in your dressing room when you've just got more of those voices at half time on the pitch saying, lads, it's all right. We know what to do. This is how we win this game. The bit about Jota as well is, and I think the sad thing about him missing the past few games is, I think we'd have beaten City with him in the side. We'd have definitely beaten United in the Cup. And we'd have definitely beaten United yesterday. But with him back, I know it might take a couple of games to hit the ground and all the rest of it, but at least being on the bench, it makes a massive difference. That's such a big impact. And as good as Quansah and Bradley have been, they are young, inexperienced players still. Yeah. So we will have more games at the end of the season. I understand why he played Quansah. He still had a good game, even though we made that mistake. We will have more big games towards the end of the season where Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kanate get to play. And they've got way more experience, and that should make us more solid. I haven't seen anyone commenting on, you know, some of the additions to our set. I'm not even going to say what it is that they should be commenting on. But I've been just looking at the shot there, and you know, when it goes to a certain one, you can definitely see what I'm referencing. But no one's got on it. Everyone's just being really serious about the footy. Klopp came out with some stuff about sort of we can't be going for goal difference and all that, and I think
I think he's right about that. You know, you already referenced 2014 when we were doing mad things around that. Yeah. I just don't think you can do that. I think
it's too late now anyway, don't you?
Yeah.
With 7 games left, what are we behind?
I think you just got to win. You just got to win. You've just got to try and win. You've got to do your thing. You can't be going, right, today we'll go for 8. Or, like, I hated all that chat around. I mean, I was probably responsible for some of it on here, and I mentioned it saying Sheffield United are poor side, so you should get some goals. But the idea that was like, you know, a thing, like we're going out to win 8-0. I don't really believe you can sort of do that. I just wanted to do a bit on United being shit again as well, because I think that always just sort of makes you feel happy, doesn't it? So, you know, some of the crowding that's going on, you're 22 points off the top of the league, lads. You know, you're absolutely miles out of it. You've faced 726 shots across all competitions this term, more than any team in Europe's top 5 leagues.
It's wild.
Like, I was listening to, I mentioned them before accidentally. I listened to some of the Anfield rap, and like I quite like Neil was threw a line in which is basically like, they're the best shittest team you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, they should be, you know, how are they even in 6th?
Yeah.
How come they haven't been beaten more?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've lost, how many have they lost in the league? Lost 12 games in the league. I mean, that only makes it more frustrating again. I know that, you know, we didn't add to that, but equally, like, you know, you can't be crowing too much when you're absolutely shite, lads. Do you know what I mean? You really can't. What else do we have? Just in a little bit of in support of Darwin as well. Before we go, I'm not trying to get too down on him. I'm a big fan. 13 assists and 18 goals. For Darwin this season. Only 4 Liverpool players have hit both marks in a season in the Premier League era, says Andrew Beasley again. So there you go. That gives you an idea that, you know, he is indeed contributing. No red need telling that. We all know that anyway. And it's only absolute banter bellends who say different, let's be honest. Jota, due to step up his recovery from a knee injury over the coming days. Come on, lad. Come on. All the positive energy, let's take it his way. And yeah, what did just before we do sort of wrap up, because we're getting near to time for this show, what did you think of what Klopp said? Because I've seen lots of different interpretations of. I mean, my initial interpretation was, he seems a bit down the way he said that. So for those that have somehow missed it, he was asked about whether he'd be supporting Man United basically when they play Arsenal. And he said, probably, if we're still around then, it would be great. But Arsenal are a good football team. And if you play like today, Arsenal will win that game. I'm 100% sure. And then went on to say, I'm really sorry to say it, but we should have won both games and didn't. And that's our fault. And then added, the same boys who missed a few chances today are the boys who brought us 71 points. But what did you think of the Arsenal comment? Because lots of people have interpreted it in different ways.
I don't think, in the context as well with it being post-match, and he's a very emotional fella, especially post-match, isn't he? I don't think it was mind games at all. I think he was just answering the question honestly. And I know managers don't always do that, but I think he just, again, cathartically, he wanted to get it out of his system. He wanted to basically say in as polite a way as he can, these are shite and we should have beat them. So I'm not going to get my hopes up that because like what they're basically saying is, do you think United could take points off Arsenal? And I don't think any of us watching that game would think United can take points off Arsenal. Yeah. I expect Arsenal to go and absolutely destroy them. And I think that's what Klopp was basically saying. Like, well, what's going to change between now and then? Yeah. Ten Hag's saying this is how he wants to play footy. Going back to what you're saying about them and like not crowing too much. The saddest thing for that is I can't imagine they're going to keep Jim Ratcliffe's going to keep him in charge when he's going to put more money into this side. Why would you give him money to spend on players if he's saying to you, imagine if you're the new owner and you're going to Ten Hag behind the scenes, should you all this stuff you're saying in the press, is that just like because you're trying to keep things going, or you're serious?
Are you sure?
And Ten Hag's like, no, I'm serious, this is good, this. He's like, okay,
just look at that. The most shots conceded in Europe.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to do.
Are you sure?
And Joey keeps doing and other people have said this. He keeps doing that. We've got injuries though, and you're like, mate, 9 of that 11 were your starting 11, and the lads half of them are lads you bought. So sorry, what you're telling me is if Martinez is out injured and Shaw's out injured, we're fucked.
He's just a placeholder now, isn't he? He's just here till the end of the season, and surely you get ribbed because he's absolutely crap. Anyway, just wanted to give a final shout out for Kwanzaa as well, just to say once more that he has done brilliantly for Liverpool. Thought he did brilliantly in the game to recover from a horrendous moment. He will be a great player for Liverpool, and in the game itself, most passes completed, him. Most touches in the game, him. Second most recoveries made for Liverpool. He won 2 out of 2 tackles. He won 4 out of 6 duels. He had a very good game, and he's a very good player. And anyone who's going anywhere near social media to abuse the lad, get an absolute grip. You know, put the keyboard down, move away from the phone, or move away from the laptop. What is this thing of abusing footy players on social media? Just jib it. And just in general, stop being tools on social media on the regular. It's just dead weird. Should we mention that weirdo in passing before we go? So there's one fella.
The Everton one.
Yeah, there's one fella who, like, it's such a commitment to it that it's almost admirable, but equally it's dead weird. So this one fella, an Evertonian, has been watching pretty much everything that I do for about 5 years.
Big fan, your biggest fan.
And
do you reckon he's like Partridge? He's done that episode of Partridge. He got a room with just your face on all the walls.
It's just dead weird. So what he does is he watches everything, looks for me mentioning them, and then clips the bit where I've mentioned them, and then he posts it on Twitter saying, this is weird, and loads of them definitely aren't weird. There was but it's like a thread going back years, and the only reason I got onto it again today is because other Evertonians replied to it and I got a bit of stick, and I thought, what's this for? And then it was just that I was basically saying the way Man United I've turned into a side who now knock a rival out of the FA Cup and disrupt the title charge. That's quite Everton. I mean, is that a mad point to me? But when I went back to some of these clips that he's been posting for 5 years, one of them was where it said, do you remember when Everton said they were going to buy Shearer and they were never ever going to buy Shearer? Well, that's like Liverpool being linked to Mbappe. And he put, weird. What's weird about it? Like, that happened, mate.
Yeah.
It's factual.
Yeah.
Anyway, leave him to it. He's enjoying himself, isn't he? But it's absolutely wild.
I love fellas like him who will do that, right? They spend hours and hours like trudging through clips on the internet to clip bits about you, and then the whole purpose of the thread is to say you're obsessed.
I know, yeah.
You're like, not sure about this one, mate.
Have you thought maybe like twist this one around and look in the middle a little bit? But someone saying we should get him on the pod, and someone else is saying 5 years is crazy. It really is. It's commitment to needle, but not very good needle. It has to be said. But if you want to hear more from us, we are now immediately going to go over and do the Patreon show. Well, I say immediately, get a brew, go for a wee, all of those kind of things. A super chat there from Tony Brophy, 10 quid. Go to the pub and have a whinge into a pint, lads. Well, I did that last night, mate, but thank you anyway. Very kind of you. Who else did we have? No buy, no sell gave us 5 quid. He said, I don't like Mondays until I get TLC. Love to hear that, mate. Thanks very much.
Thanks, mate.
Loads of comments today. Loads of yous watching live, so thanks very much for that. Come and join us over on Patreon. We're going to do another show now. We're going to talk about the ticket price rises. We're going to talk about football in general, the direction it's gone in, what it used to be like, what it's like now, what it's like for fans, all of that kind of stuff. And I'll moan about a garage in Crosby because they've really done me head in. So if you can't wait for that content, get yourself over there. And yeah, thanks very much. Do all the usual things, like and subscribe, share the stuff on social media, tell other people you like it, all that kind of stuff. Thanks very much. We'll be back usual time next week. Up the Reds. We'll be all right.